guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. I have my friend with me this time. The reason I literally forced her to join me because my friend recently gone through a lot. And, you know, work-wise, don't you agree? A lot. Gone through a lot, you know, relationship-wise, work-wise, and all that. And the reason I want to force her to join this video with me is because I think it will help you guys to understand what it's like to love yourself. Don't you think that's important?
It's the most important.
It's the most important one, right? So I think it would be helpful for the audience to hear it not from me, as you guys always think I speak in different language. I think it would be helpful for you guys to hear it from a third party, how it's like, right? Especially when people going through so much, how it's like for them. So I'm gonna interview you. I understand recently you've gone through quite a bit of things, and then it was a difficult relationship situation with your kids, with your work, over around. Like, if now I'm gonna ask you a question, what is it like to love yourself? What would you say?
It's the most natural thing to do.
It's the most natural thing.
It's
not natural based on this environment we're living in, though. It does take some time to come to awareness, don't you think?
It does, and it's putting yourself first, no matter what.
But okay, if I'm gonna suggest if you're gonna suggest to other audience and things like that, what would you suggest? What would be the step-by-step look like when I say how to love yourself?
I think the first step is to spend some time with yourself. So really understand what you want. and that's crucial because so many times when we have to make decisions, we talk to everybody.
Yeah.
We talk to 50 different people and they all tell you what you should do based on their experience. And especially when it comes to major decisions, I mean, you know, ending a marriage or changing your job or any of that, there's so many reasons, and nobody can tell you what to do better than yourself. And the only way you can do that is if you spend time by yourself and really get the feeling of feel what you're doing. Not from a action point of view, not from a, you know, take a piece of paper and look at finances, look at money, look at children, look at what the culture tells you, but really look at a feeling point of view. How free do you feel? And the answers are so simple. Doing it is hard, but the answers are usually really simple.
But you do have to agree, doing it is very hard,
extremely
right?
hard.
You and me been gone through this all the time, because doing it by doing what you believe also mean we had to fight against what society tells us to do.
Yeah, but the good news is that you're doing it one day at a time. You're doing it actually not even one day at a time. You're doing it from moment to moment. Each time you stand up for yourself, each time you stand up for your truth.
Yeah.
It's one more step forward, and it might seem like one step forward now, but in the big picture it's a huge step forward.
Yeah. And then, you know, you and me both gone through this, so we understand how the society that we're fighting with that often discourage us, right? Like very often they actually make us want to give up because it start to tell you are wrong, and then what we believe so deeply, that's right? So I mean, I think a long way you have come.
Thank you.
So now I'm asking you a question. I mean, trust me, it's not 1 day, 2 days job. It sometimes takes years.
I think we've been going through this for like 5-6 years. We've been talking about stuff.
We've been talking about stuff, yes. Sometimes it takes years, and then it fails all the time. So now I'm asking you, is it worth it?
Absolutely.
It's worth it.
Absolutely.
If I ask you to go back, change anything, would you change it?
No.
No, right?
No.
So I really want to...
Even the mistakes that we make,
oh,
they're meant to be there to learn.
That I totally agree too. Like, seriously, don't treat mistake as a failure that you will fail. Mistake, as I say, is simply a step for you to become a better one, right? If you take that as a lesson learned, hey, lesson learned, that's it. You really have a chance to improve to a better place. So what I now want you to share is how it's like. How it's like now you still have, not that we are there yet, really, we are not there yet, it's such a long way to go. But when you start to have a little taste of what it's like to love yourself, how it's like for you. How do you feel in general? How does it work in your life or test? Like, what would you say?
Well, I think from the outside, for other people, there's not very much change because, I mean, I'm living an ordinary life. You know, kids, home managing my life.
Yeah.
But from an inside perspective, it's huge. I pay attention to little things. The most important, I take time for myself. It's more important than anything else. Whether it make me, I mean, it's I can't say that it's easy for anybody, but you just have to make time, whether you're staying up late or you wake up an hour earlier and spend an hour just. And the first thing I do is when I wake up, it's my intention to feel good.
Yeah.
It's my primary intention that today I'm going to feel good. And it's, you start out the day getting rid of all the kinks.
Yeah.
If something's worrying you, I'm not thinking about that right now. Right now, this is my morning and I'm going to have a great day. And it's all about thought and constantly paying attention to what I think, because what I think is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And how I feel is more important than anything else in the world. And it sounds so selfish because it really does. I mean, what do you mean you want to feel good? What about me? What about me?
I get it.
But it's not, but it's in a very basic way. We always do things that make us feel better. We eat food that'll make us feel happier. We try and get rest when we want to feel better. We go on holidays to feel better. So if you take it one more step, why can't we just think thoughts that will make us feel better instead of worrying about things that just make you feel worse?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's exactly what I want my friend to have a conversation with you guys, because she currently goes through a lot of things, like separation with husband, and then the kids like doesn't understand. So understand, she personally is going through a lot. Like any of you housewife or any of you who's dealing with so many things too, it's very overwhelming for her to in this mess try to figure herself out. Understand the society will not agree, how from traditional culture, when you go when you're going through separation and things like that, people will always tell you this is not what you're supposed to do, this is what this will damage the children. Don't you agree that even the children will not understand, right?
No, and
so
it's like put the children first.
Yeah.
How can you do this? What about the children?
So what is it like when you come from love myself perspective? How do you explain this to your children? Like, you know what I mean? Like children will always say, Mom, you need to stay with Dad, so I will feel safe and happy. In that situation, I believe there are a lot of women dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
Like, what is it like from where you are right now? And then how you communicate with your kids, and then how do you feel after you communicate with kids? I think you can share with us.
I think before I communicate with my kids, and I think and I've learned because it's been a while, is before I actually have any conversations with them, I focus on how much I love them. And when you come from the space of just pure love with no other intention, I'm not there to change your mind, I'm not there to tell you you're wrong, I'm just here loving you for who you are, then they're much more receptive to whatever you say. And they may they might have the logic about, well, so-and-so said this is bad, or
like, why can't you be a
why
normal
can't you be
mom?
normal mom, or why can't you just do what other people are doing?
Right. Yeah.
Those are words, but the emotion that they feel behind them seems to subside because they're still overwhelmed with what's true, and which they understand is that that they feel that love, and I can't love them the way I would want to if I don't love myself. It's you can't love anybody as much till you can love yourself, and you can't let anybody else love you the way till you can learn to love yourself.
So from what I understand, like, when all the time we know, right, when parents dealing with separation and all that, we deal with a lot of shame, we're dealing with discomfort and all that kind of emotion that's going on with us. From what I understand, you actually choose to be straightforward with your child.
Yes.
It's not an easy journey, but you choose to tell your kid it is what it is, and you explain exactly what it is like for you. What would you say? Is that the best? Is still the best choice you do? Like, what would you recommend to all the people out there who is dealing with things, and then they don't know if they should share with the kids? I mean, what would be your advice?
I would tell them that I would tell my kids firstly that they're loved from everybody, that both their parents love them. There's no doubt on that. And then I would tell them that I'm following what I believe to be true for me. Right now, I believe it with my heart. I could be wrong, but for now, I believe that what I'm doing is what's best for me, and it makes me happy. and I have a right to be happy just as you have a right to be happy. And really, I think it's important that kids learn that their happiness matters. And I know for now that what I'm doing might not make you happy,
Yeah.
but your happiness shouldn't depend on what I'm doing. There are many other things that affect your life, and basically that's the message I'd like them to know, because I want them to be responsible. I want them to be to take ownership of their own happiness. And it's hard, but you have to keep sort of repeating it, and you have to feel it. If you start
Yeah.
feeling guilty about it, then they know, and then of course then that's a losing battle. So
Yeah. So, I do too agree with that, because I think it's a very important, valuable lesson that we as a parent can teach our kids is be responsible for your own happiness, because only when you start being responsible of your happiness, then you then can create happiness whenever you want it. Don't you agree? Because
Absolutely.
we're living in a society that we often believe the society decide how we feel or how we should be. But the truth is, it all come from within, right?
And then remind them when they're happy. So if they're
Yeah.
like, and I think it's a really, when they're little, they're so receptive, and they feel, when you can see that they're feeling happy or they're feeling happy about something, just sort of bring it out and say, look, you feel, this is such a good thing. We've had a good day today.
Point it out and then let them know.
Or
they
if
can,
they start writing journals,
Yeah.
like, what should we write about? Write about things that made you happy. Write about things that you think we'll do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And sort of bring back basic life skills, bring back happiness into their life, so that even though they don't sound like they get it, and sometimes they'll be angry and upset, but somewhere behind their head, they're going to know that happiness matters and they matter, and they're going to be responsible for themselves, not me, not their dad, not in a very spiritual way. It's going to be them.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. Seriously, I mean, coming from people who's going through a lot, that's a great advice that you can give to guys. So, okay, I'm just gonna quickly wrap this up. So, if at the last, if you wanna share with a little bit, insight from loving yourself, right? Loving yourself, like, what would you share with all the audience out there? Like, what would you share? What is it like, or is it important? How important it is, and just some insight. What would you say?
I think it's the most important, but loving yourself sounds simple, but it's much bigger than that. It's respecting yourself. It's caring about how you feel. It's honoring yourself. And sometimes it could be just simple things as going for a walk when you need to, and sometimes it could be big, like standing up for yourself, where you know that everybody else is going to be is not going to appreciate what you're doing, but it comes slowly, and each time you make that step, and each time you do something that makes you feel better, it's like connecting with your soul.
Yeah.
You're connecting with your higher self. You're being your higher self. You're being your soul. And when you're coming from that space, you're not, any action that you do isn't about hurting anybody else. It's not about, I'm doing this because I want to upset you. I'm doing this because it's for my best. And when it's for my highest good, it can't be wrong for anyone else. Because
And when you're doing things for your highest good, as I just gonna add, don't you agree? You always come from a point of respect. We don't say things to hurt people. We simply say it as it is, without a word like intention to hurt others.
But I think the big one is also to stop saying things to people that aren't receptive to listening. Because you put yourself back into that
As
place.
I will say, yes.
So, I mean, if you're going through a hard time
Yes.
with your ex or whatever, it's very, you want to tell them your point of view. They want to tell you their point of view. And you're speaking two different languages. And each time you try to convince the other person, you're bringing yourself right back down to where you started. And sometimes it just means just letting go.
Yeah.
And it might sound like you're passive, or somebody's walking all over you and they're taking advantage of you, but you're not. What you're doing is you're protecting yourself from being somebody you don't want to be. Because the moment you get down to the stage of getting into a fight or an argument or trying to prove that you're right, you're bringing yourself into a different position. So I think, which is much harder, is just, what they think is their business, what you think is your business. And you don't have to try and convince them.
And it's your job to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm so glad I can have my friends I literally forced her to do this short video with me. But I think it's important because her personally going through quite a lot of things. And, I see how she struggled. I see how she become a stronger person. So that's what I think is very valuable for her to share her wisdom with you guys. And another thing that people always wondering why I know so much, because I have lovely friends to always share their struggle and their learning journey with me. So it always give me extra, validation and all that to, test my theory or, even work on myself and all that. So anyway, thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
So again, if you guys like what I'm doing, is always subscribe my YouTube channel, or go to my Facebook or my website, ruowen.com. Till then, I see you guys next time. Bye.